Hey, I'm Tony Moreland, and this is POW, Podcast of Wisdom from the Samsung Developer Program, where we talk about the latest tech, new trends, and give insight into all of the opportunities available for developers looking to create for Samsung. On today's show, I interview Prasad Rayala, Product Manager for DeX, the Samsung technology that allows users to extend their Galaxy mobile device into a desktop computing experience. Not only do we talk about the advantages for developers optimizing their apps for DeX, but how he traveled to Australia just before COVID-19 hit, and with the borders closed, he can't come back. Enjoy. So I am super excited to have with me Prasad Rayala on the podcast. I need to first ask, who is Prasad?
Hey, thanks, Tony, for having me. I'm a product manager at Samsung Electronics America. I cover Knox mobile enrollment and Knox Manage products. And recently I picked up DeX as well. And in my role, I work with our internal teams to enable them with what's new with these products, how they can be offered to customers, and what challenges customers are facing in implementing these solutions. On the other side, I work with our R&D teams to enhance these solutions based on feedback we receive from our customers and partners.
So how long have you been at Samsung for?
A total of 6 years, 3 years with Samsung America and 3 years Samsung Dubai.
I didn't realize that. So you worked in Dubai?
Yeah, about 3 years. And then I moved to Samsung US.
Did you study tech when you were in college?
I'm an engineer, but I studied civil engineering, how to construct buildings and bridges.
Sure.
But I moved to IT. I started my career with as a programmer on the mid-range systems, AS400, during the Y2K era. I then moved to Java programming language, and I've been working outsourcing company in India for over a decade. While I was with them, I was posted to Dubai to manage the customer relationships there. And while I was in Dubai, I came across an opportunity to join Samsung to manage a large-scale smart learning project where about 400 classrooms across the country need to be digitized with large displays in the classrooms and also provide devices for students to consume the content. That was in 2013. And after completing the project, I moved to the mobility side, and Knox was just launched at that time. And I was tasked to spread the awareness of Knox, work with partners, build the ecosystem, just take it to the market. And I continued in that role for about 3 years. And in 2016, I moved to the US and joined a global Knox solution engineering team. And since then, I've done different roles like solution engineering, partner management, project management, and now product management.
You know, I recently did a podcast interview with the Knox Partner Program.
Yes, that was excellent. Yeah, I mean, it's a great initiative how to help our partners build their solutions, get support, and actually work with Samsung in promoting those solutions. It's a nice platform.
So you had mentioned that you eventually made it to the US. Tell me, where are you based out of right now?
I work out of our Mountain View office in the Bay Area. We also have the North America or US R&D team also operates from. Majority of Knox R&D teams, engineering, product managers work out of that office as well.
And is that where you're at right at this moment?
As of this moment, I'm in Melbourne, Australia. My family lives here and I came to visit them mid of March. And since then, I'm stuck here because of the border closures on both sides. So I continue to work remotely, leveraging all the technical capabilities my company provided, including DeX.
I can imagine what that must be like. Glad to know that you and your family are safe and that you're able to continue working. Hopefully soon the borders will open and you'll be able to come home. But I'm just not sure when that's going to be. Let's talk a bit more about DeX now. What exactly is DeX?
So Samsung DeX is a software platform that extends your smartphone or tablet into a desktop computing experience. It is built into many of the latest Samsung smartphones and tablets. It's free. You don't have to buy anything. All you need to get started using DeX is just a monitor, HDMI adapter, and peripherals like keyboard and mouse. And with our latest Galaxy Note 20, you can use DeX wirelessly on most of your TVs that support Miracast. The best part is while you are running DeX on the monitor, you can continue to use your device at the same time. So you're attending a video conference on the bigger screen, but you can also take notes or browse through your emails on your device at the same time.
So I know my first experience with DeX was a little over a year ago, and back then I actually had to stick it into a cradle. So you're saying now it's
Miracast, yes, you connect to your larger display through Miracast wirelessly. When DeX was launched with Galaxy S8, yes, there were a couple of hardware accessories like a cradle was required to plug it in. We graduated from there to wireless connectivity now. There are certain limitations like how many number of apps you can run while you're connected wirelessly. But you have the option of just going into a meeting room, connecting to a display wirelessly, and running your presentations off your phone.
So can you tell me, where did the name DeX come from? What does that mean?
Yeah, anything ending with X is very catchy, right?
Sure.
But DeX is a short version of desktop experience. So when you activate it by connecting your phone or tablet to a monitor, you get the familiar look and feel of a desktop environment with features and functions you're used to, like multiple and resizable windows, keyboard shortcuts, and drag and drop, etc.
Do users need to install any special apps or use any special APIs to enable Samsung DeX on their devices?
No special application is required. It's pre-built on the device firmware. You don't have to install anything. You just need to connect the device to a monitor with the cable, and DeX will launch automatically. An IT administrator on the other side can control the DeX experience, like allowing or disallowing, enabling DeX, and choosing which applications can run in DeX mode.
Okay.
This can be done using their preferred EMM solution.
Definitely for security, that's an important aspect. Is DeX only compatible with Android, or is it compatible beyond Android OS?
So DeX can be used in 3 different variations to meet various needs. First, you can use it by connecting your Samsung Android device to a monitor, or you can run it in a standalone mode on the tablet screen without connecting to a monitor, or you can use your PC or Mac by installing an application on the Mac or PC and connect your device through USB cable and run DeX on your existing laptop or Mac. But the experience itself is powered by the software inbuilt on Samsung smartphones and tablets.
So what applications can I use in DeX mode?
Pretty much any Android application that's running on your device can be run in DeX mode. All your favorite business applications like Microsoft Office Mobile Suite, Adobe apps for creative professionals, video conferencing apps like Microsoft Teams, WebEx, Zoom, BlueJeans, etc.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, and if you are relying on legacy Windows applications that do not have mobile or web versions, you can use virtual desktop applications like VMware or Citrix within DeX to access a full Windows desktop from your phone. And it's not just all work, you can have some fun too. You can play your favorite games on a bigger screen and use your gaming keyboard and mouse to control the game experience on a bigger screen.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. That's definitely a great advantage.
Yeah.
So let's talk a bit about developing for DeX. So if I'm a developer, why should I optimize my app for DeX?
Yeah, based on some market research, we found that majority of IT workers use 2 or more devices for work. A phone, laptop, tablet, laptop, desktop, etc. At least 2. When multitasking between these devices, productivity is lost due to incompatibility between the operating systems and applications. Samsung DeX minimizes this fragmentation by bringing PC-like experience to your mobile devices. Applications optimized for DeX can take advantage of Android's multi-window features, where users can open multiple apps in the same session to work, connect, and interact seamlessly together. Because these applications will be running on a larger screen in DeX mode, you can use additional features like drag and drop files between windows, copy paste between multiple applications, and navigate between apps with your familiar keyboard shortcuts.
We talked a little bit about COVID, how you're in Australia at the moment because of the borders. Pretty much the country is working from home. So can you talk a bit about the benefits of developers optimizing their apps, considering that people are now working at home more?
Yeah, I mean, we have seen shift in many things that we are usually doing. Say, working from home for an hour is different from working from home for 6 months. Teaching kids for a couple of hours from home is different from remote learning throughout the day. So enabling a secure and productive work from home setup is one of the core use cases of DeX. Imagine you're about to jump onto a video conferencing call with your team on your laptop, and it decides to go through an OS update.
Yes.
Right at that moment. Or you get a blue screen. So you don't have to reschedule your call. You can just connect your phone to the monitor and fire up your DeX and join the call. You can continue checking your emails, take notes, or even collaborate with your team by sharing your screen while you are on the video conferencing call, launched through DeX. If you need access to Windows native applications, yes, you can fire up VDI solution like Citrix or VMware. And if you have an application running in education space, say, students will be able to utilize a large screen to access your solution and use the S Pen on the tablets to take notes while attending a session.
That's great. With this whole distance learning, any sort of tools that we can offer to our students to help is definitely a huge benefit.
So my son's school is using Google Classroom, and they share a lot of material for kids to work on, some math worksheet, etc. He's been printing them and writing on them and scanning and sharing with their teachers. I told him, why don't you use your S Pen? So now he's converting it into a PDF. He's editing, writing on the tablet itself, just saving it locally and sharing with his teachers. So we're reducing a lot of printing at home, saving some trees out there.
Definitely. Yeah. That's great. So what has Samsung DeX done to drive awareness for developers?
Yeah, since the launch of DeX, Samsung has worked closely with the developer community in enabling business applications to take advantage of the benefits offered by DeX. Every year at Samsung Developer Conference, there are dedicated talk tracks and hands-on labs were offered. There are a lot of articles and videos around how DeX is enabling certain use cases in verticals like public safety, healthcare, and education. These are published on Samsung Insights portal, and there is a dedicated section on the developer website for Samsung to help developers start their journey and optimizing their apps for DeX.
That's excellent. Any chance that there's some sample code out there for developers who want to take a look at it and understand a little bit more?
Absolutely. There are hands-on videos on the developer.samsung.com how to optimize the applications, and there is some sample code explaining each optimization they can do. These videos are great. Like, you can just pause them and make changes to your app, and there are instructions on how to test your application, how it's running on DeX, etc. There are a lot of resources on developer.samsung.com.
That's great. So we talked a little bit about your experience with Knox. So let's talk about what has DeX done related to security.
So DeX doesn't really interfere with security. It fully complies with the policies set by administrator through their EMM. Say you want to attach a picture you took on your phone to your email. And if your administrator has blocked access to the USB ports on your laptop for security reasons, how will you send your picture to your email? You will either email it to yourself or to a third-party cloud storage. Both are not productive enough and not secure enough. So with DeX, you'll have that seamless access of your local files on your device, which you can just drag and drop these files onto your email client running on your device itself. So no more emailing it yourself or uploading to a third-party files sharing system. You can also leverage your biometrics to set up Samsung Pass on your device to access your online accounts without having to type in your passwords every time. On the personal side, if you're using the secure folder where you might have installed sensitive applications like banking or you stored sensitive information, you can continue to use it. DeX won't interfere with a secure folder as well.
So I had mentioned earlier that the version of DeX that I had was where I had put my device into a cradle. So I know that DeX has evolved. So talk a little bit about where DeX originated from and what it's become.
Yeah. So the mobile device is not designed to run multiple applications at the same time, right? So yes, there can be background applications running, but user typically interacts with one application at a time. There is no multi-window. But as DeX enables this multi-windows feature, the device can heat up pretty quickly. So the first version of DeX, when it was introduced on Galaxy S8, there was a docking accessory called a DeX Station or a DeX Pad was required to start the desktop experience and connect to peripherals. So this accessory had a little fan inside to keep the device cool and ports to connect your keyboard and mouse and HDMI to your monitor. With Note 9, the need for these docking accessories was eliminated by introducing DeX HDMI adapter or a simple cable or a multi-port adapter if you need to connect your peripherals. In 2019, with the launch of Note 10, DeX for PC was introduced. I talked before where you can install an application on your PC or Mac and access DeX right from your computer. With Note 20, you don't need any wires, any cables. You can just connect your phone to your Miracast supported TVs wirelessly.
So you had mentioned a little bit about multi-window. Are there any other specific types of optimizations that can be done?
Yeah, at a minimum, a DeX optimized application should support multi-window keyboard mouse inputs and handle runtime configuration changes. Generally, if an app follows best practices of Android programming, it'll successfully run in DeX mode without any code changes.
Okay.
There are no Samsung-specific SDK to integrate or APIs to call. Multi-window support enables minimizing, maximizing, and resizing the application window. Only the manifest file needs to be updated to support this feature. To enable keyboard and mouse support, you just do not explicitly declare touchscreen support in your manifest. And keep in mind that when an application switches between mobile and DeX mode, runtime configurations change. This is similar to an orientation change from portrait to landscape. These runtime configuration changes may result in forcing the application to restart when switching between mobile and DeX mode. You don't want a WebEx session that you joined from phone to restart when you launch DeX mode. To avoid this, just follow Android's guideline on handling configuration changes and best practices for building a responsive design.
That seems pretty straightforward. What about some new DeX features like finger gestures or drag and drop?
Yeah, so drag and drop, copy paste, these features have been there right from the beginning. The finger gestures you're mentioning is how you use your device screen as a touchpad. When you are in DeX mode, by connecting your device to the monitor, if you do not have a mouse, you can convert your device screen as a touchpad to interact with the DeX environment. Just like a traditional touchpad on a laptop, a single tap on your phone screen is same as your mouse left click. A double tap is like a right click. You can pinch your fingers to zoom, etc.
So what types of apps then are developers optimizing for DeX?
So any application used in a workplace setting like productivity suites, your VDI applications, video conferencing, or specific vertical focused applications like, say, healthcare or education. These are all applications that can be optimized. Any application that can benefit from a desktop experience running on a larger screen is a candidate for optimization. It's not just limited to, again, work apps. You can optimize some of your games as well, if you will. The games can be educational. My daughter is learning how to count by 2s, 3s, 4s. So she just started her multiplication. And there are a lot of lessons out there which are gamified. And instead of watching those on a 7-inch screen or a 10-inch laptop, I'm letting her watch those things on my Samsung TV on a larger screen, and she's happy with it.
Oh, that's excellent. So let's talk about some of the challenges. Has DeX had to face any challenges that you can share?
Yeah, so with DeX, our goal is to close the gap between desktop and mobile computing experiences. It won't happen overnight. We need to build an ecosystem around DeX to support different use cases. We are pretty confident about meeting the mobile workers' needs, but we know we have some work to do in other verticals. We are investing heavily in enhancing the core capabilities of the device itself to support different vertical use cases, along with leveraging capabilities of our partners. There are some exciting things on the roadmap, so watch out this space throughout this year and early next year.
Excellent. So let's talk about some of the areas of success then. What can you share that you're proud of that DeX has accomplished?
So we've seen DeX adopted in almost all industries. Say in healthcare, a patient experience is improved through seamless continuity from doctor's workstation to patient rooms and back again. In retail, the associate can use a single device to, say, browse through inventory, check prices, or assist customers with checkouts, all with a single device. Say in public safety, officer can use his mobile phone while in the field or inside the vehicle or at the station. Say in a insurance or construction space, you can consolidate your hardware so you have access to everything you need while in the field without having to go back and forth between devices. So we continue to work with our partners and customers to identify different use cases. In retail bank branches, there is a nice use case where the bank associate can interact with the customer through a dual screen kind of mode where associate will be accessing, say, presenting different loan options or credit card options to the customer, and the customer will be using a tablet, fill in his or her personal information, both sharing the same device. So there are nice use cases we are discovering. Our customers will help improving the product with the use cases they have in their specific vertical businesses.
Yeah, and I can totally see where we're in the middle of this pandemic with COVID, and it's pretty obvious that even when we get beyond this pandemic, I think our society is going to be making a shift towards how we're conducting a lot of our day-to-day business. So just your example there of how working with bank institutions and being able to share screens, but yet stay within your device, I think is very, very advantageous.
Right.
So what advice do you have for developers looking to get started modifying their apps for DeX?
So if you have never experienced a DeX, you don't know how your application looks and feels on a larger screen, just start simple, enable multi-window keyboard shortcuts, and just connect your device, launch your application, and just see the magic. These changes do not require any change in your code, just the manifest file. You can just make some changes and run it. Once you see how it runs on a larger device with resizable windows and drag and drop, etc., then it'll force you to think outside that 7-inch screen your application is designed to run on. You can then go on and explore more and provide unique features like, say, contextual menu, or using a mouse wheel to zoom in. Say you have a map solution in your application, you can use the mouse wheel to zoom in and out of the map, etc.
That's great. So for a developer that wants to get started, what's the best way for them to learn more? Is there a website that they can go to?
Yeah, I mean, to understand what specific solutions are best optimized for DeX, check out Samsung DeX.com. It gives an overview of the solution itself, how it runs, how to enable it, what devices it run on, etc. And while you're there, just go to DeX for Business section to understand how it's used in different verticals. You may be operating in a specific industry. It'll help understand how DeX is enabling use cases in that industry. And there are a lot of videos on YouTube on just DeX, both from Samsung team and independent analysts, users out there who tried DeX for different use cases. And finally, when you're ready to start optimizing your application, go to developer.samsung.com and go to the DeX section and follow the instructions. Start simple and just start optimizing your app.
That's great. That sounds actually pretty darn easy.
Yeah.
So are there any news or any events coming up that we can get excited about from DeX?
So as much as we wanted to be in front of our customers and partners, but we couldn't do so with COVID. So we are going as much digital as possible. We had a 2-day virtual experience event in July where industry experts advised how businesses can adjust to the new normal. We have also launched a series of online events called Samsung Together, where we host a 1-hour session with our partners to introduce new solutions we are bringing together to help our customers navigate these difficult situations. We covered DeX in detail in the last episode. There were hands-on demonstrations and use cases discussed, etc. So check out Samsung Together. There's a series of 1-hour sessions, and the last session covered DeX in detail.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Thank you for that. And I will be linking to all of this in the show notes for this episode, so make it easy for our listeners to find those pages. If people want to contact you or the DeX team, what is the best way for them to do that?
So the instructions at developer.samsung.com are pretty self-explanatory, with a lot of videos and sample code, etc. But if you still need help, send in a request with your question inside that portal. There is a dedicated team round the clock to help you with your clarifications. Wherever you are in the world, there is a team in your time zone answering your questions. Just make use of that contact form on developer.samsung.com.
Excellent. So a couple of last questions for you. So the first thing I want to ask is, when you're not working, what do you do for fun?
So can you really say when you're not working now that you are at home and you're always hooked on to work, right? There is no distinction between you are at work, at home, you're always working, right?
You are correct. Okay, so when you're outside and you're unplugged.
So yeah, mostly I spend my time with my family outside my work. My 2 kids keep me busy, helping them with these remote learning, or just keeping them busy when they're not learning. But if I can still sneak out some time, I'll mostly be exploring my neighborhood by walking. I love to go on slow, long walks and probably some hikes.
So the last question, you had mentioned that you were studying as a civil engineer and then you actually got to spend time in Dubai. What was that like I'm sure you were amazed with all of the buildings that you saw there.
So Dubai goes through these cycles of real estate boom and bust, right? When it's booming, you could see thousands of these cranes set up. They go vertical because they need to make use of the limited space they have. They can't spread out, so they go vertical. The minimum you'll see like 30, 50 floors and all that. So Samsung office was on 52nd floor, and we could see from there the Palm Jumeirah clearly.
Really?
There are a lot of engineering marvels, a lot of great architecture. There is a twisting and rotating tower. So builders are competing with new and unique designs out there. Well, it's challenging work environment, right? The temperatures constantly above 130, 140 sometimes. It's very challenging sometimes.
Wow.
It's fun.
Well, hey, Prasad, I absolutely appreciate you taking the time to join me on the podcast. Thank you very much.
Oh, thanks, Tony. Thanks for having me.
Looking to start creating for Samsung? Download the latest tools to code your next app. Or get software for designing apps without coding at all. Sell your apps to the world on the Samsung Galaxy Store. Check out developer.samsung.com today and start your journey with Samsung.
The PAL Podcast is brought to you by the Samsung Developer Program and produced by Tony Moreland.